Welcome to Home Diagnosis.
We've talked about renovating old homes, but we've never dug this deep.
We had the chance to park the Tiny Lab next to the Wyckoff House, the oldest house in New York City, and we pitted them head to head with performance testing.
So let's explore the history of home performance with the queen of historic homes.
Hi, I'm Corbett.
And I'm Grace.
Since we met, we've been partners in everything.
In work, in life, and in love.
Fast forward to now, we've created careers in home testing, building science.
And started a family.
We also built the Tiny Lab.
To get people thinking about their home's problems dynamically.
We use scientific testing to diagnose a house's problems.
Because more than comfort, energy, or safety, it's about gaining control of your home.
And with 2 cats, 2 kids, and 200 square feet.
We know this intimately. For me, what was most exciting about New York City, we knew we wanted to test something really special, but we didn't know what house it was going to be. New York's got the coolest kinds of houses, brownstones and, really old, interesting structures. And then the New York City Parks came on board with Ian Minerva, and the Wyckoff House presented itself.
Everybody loves before and after, and parking the Tiny Lab next to the Wyckoff House is the best before and after there is. What a family that built a house themselves back in 1650 versus what a family that built a house themselves in the 21st century would do with it is just really exciting.
Our Tiny Lab, while it is tiny, it's not very small on the road, and it's not very small going through gates. And we had to go through the tiniest gate possible to get into the Wyckoff House.
The morning that I had to tow this house backwards in Brooklyn on a weekend in traffic in the middle of the day into this gate, I absolutely knew that I was super nervous.
When you walk into the Wyckoff House, it feels very multi-dimensional. Literally every single room has a different history to it because this home has had so many additions.
So many things happened to this place to change how it was performing. It is the most multi-layered onion in the entire country.
2 houses separated by 350 years and both designed to go off-grid. So here we are in New York City, and before this was an English colony, it was a Dutch colony. Dutch women were highly literate, incredibly independent, and they even kept their last name. I'm really excited to see how they dealt with the complexities of their life and how they used home performance back in 1652. Here we are in the Wyckoff House, the original room that dates back to the 17th century. And this is Lucy Chen. She is the historian of the home. Lucy, can you tell us a little bit about the complexities of living in America's original tiny home?
We met Lucy, the docent, who was going to be in charge of showing us around, and we immediately knew this woman was the real deal. She knew every story about what was going on in that house through the generations, which was invaluable because just seeing the house is one thing, but if you know the stories about all of the different closets and the stairways and the walls, and it was just amazing to see the intention and the culture behind what you see in the house.
Well, I would like to welcome you to the Wyckoff House Museum.
Thank you.
This is the Peter Clausen Wyckoff House, and it is one of the oldest wooden structures in the country. It's the oldest house in New York, for sure.
Lucy's a real New Yorker. She's got a background in theater and in costuming and management. So she really understands telling the story and also how a home would be managed.
This was a one-room cottage. So what you see is what you get. It had a dirt floor, actually packed earth, unglazed windows, doors and windows on the north side and on the south side. So there wasn't really a front and a back. They would have had shutters that they would close at night. And this is one of the interesting things about this period of time, right from the Middle Ages through the middle of the Renaissance. For some reason, people firmly believed that night air was toxic.
Interesting.
So they would have closed those shutters every night, year-round.
Can you tell me a little bit about the materials that were used to make this home?
This is a construction which in English is called wattle and daub. And the wattle is the wood part. It would have been white oak, which was growing locally, probably within a half mile of the house. The daub is the shredded straw and mud that makes up the surface of the wall. And then the entire thing would have been sealed with plaster that was made from burned oyster shells. There are also corn cobs situated in the walls. It was something that they learned to do from the native populations, and it was used as an insulation technique.
Was there an attic?
Well, it wasn't exactly an attic. It's what they call the loft space. But the loft is where you would have worked off the sacks and the barrels and the crates of whatever was open and you needed immediate access to, so that you wouldn't have to keep going out to the root cellar. And a convenient place to stick a kid or two at night where they could sleep close to the chimney stack, which would actually have been warmer for the most part than sleeping down here.
In the original house, the family actually slept on a loft, but it was very, very different from what we think of lofts today. It was literally just kind of slats of wood that were just sturdy enough to have people sleep up there.
The original New York loft.